Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is specifically made for my conversation class students in Cambridge, but if you're here from another place or you just stumbled across this, I'm happy to have you here and stay tuned for more. I'm starting this new playlist on pronunciation because in my conversation class, we're busy doing speeches and impromptu talks, and we don't really have time to cover these little pronunciation lessons. So we're going to do that here on this channel, and then you can come back to it and review it or get more practice anytime you need. The first lesson I'm going to do is on how to pronounce those tricky ED endings. A lot of times I'll hear my students say things like, I walked to school this morning, or she brushed my hair too hard, or I hanged my coat up. So they're pronouncing the ED as ed every time. And there are actually 3 ways to pronounce ED at the end of words. And I'm going to show you how and then show you the rule for how to know when to do it. So the 3 ways to pronounce ED at the end of the word are t, d, and id. And you use them depending on the letter at the end, right before the ED. And how to pronounce the ED depends on what kind of consonant is there before the ED. If it's a voiced consonant, that means you can feel it. You can feel your vocal cords. So when we say the letter B, B, you can feel the vocal cords moving, vibrating. D, again, you feel it. Those are called voiced consonants. When you have a voiced consonant before the ED, you pronounce the ED as D. And in a minute, we'll go to another page and I'll show you some examples. The other part are voiceless consonants. These are consonants that when you put your hand to your throat and you pronounce the sound, you don't feel it. There's no vibration there. And so for those letters, you pronounce the ED as T. Here are some examples. These are of voiced consonants. Oops, I can't get my little circle here to stay still. Now, okay, let's go to this one. B, it's voiced. Here's the ED, the B is in front, so it's voiced, so we're going to say D at the end. Robbed, grabbed. Let's go to the next letter. G, I can feel it, it's voiced. So you have the G before the ED, so you say hugged. You're going to pronounce the D. Begged. Okay, I won't belabor the point and go through all of these with you, but you can do these on your own. Practice them. Practice saying them with the D sound at the end. The next way is if the consonant is unvoiced, the consonant right before the ED if it's unvoiced. So let's look at this one. P. We have the P sound right there. So because we have the unvoiced consonant, we're going to pronounce it as a T. So this one would be stopped, jumped, helped. All right. One thing I need to mention is that there are 2 different sounds of TH. The unvoiced sound is as in to froth milk, or you would say the barista frothed my milk. Going back up to the voiced consonants, the voiced TH sounds as it does in the word breathe. So we would say breathed. He breathed life into the humans. He breathed. Okay, so now let's go on to the very last way to say it, and this is the symbol for the sound id. When we have the last consonant before the ED as a D or a T, that's when we say id. And you can see why, because you wouldn't say D or T with those. It has to be id. So we have needed, wanted. And again, you can go through the rest of those on your own, practicing them. And so that's it. It's as simple as that. There are 3 ways to say ed at the end of a word, depending on voiced or unvoiced consonants or the presence of d or t. Now what you can do is take a list like this one, and you can either go through it yourself and look at the consonant before the ed and determine is that voiced or unvoiced, and then write it in yourself, t, d, or id. Or I've had some students who just put this whole list through ChatGPT, and ChatGPT shoots out the way it's supposed to sound. You can do that as well. But I think the main thing you want to do is practice these words until it becomes automatic to your brain to know how to pronounce the ed at the end, either d, t, or id. All right, that's it. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions and you're local to me, feel free to see me after class and we can discuss this some more. You can also leave a note in the comments if you have any questions that I can help you with there. All right, I hope to see you at the next lesson. Bye.